Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about dating.
Okay, I can be your intro.
So number one, communication. Basically this just means talking
Talk to each other.
while you're dating. Like that would obviously help. But within communication, for me personally, I mean actually talk about stuff. For me growing up, my family, we didn't really talk about our feelings very well. And so going into a relationship, I didn't know, and you kind of think that it would be opposite. Maybe the guy doesn't know how to talk about their feelings, but it was swapped actually for us. I didn't know how to talk about my feelings, whereas Aaron was more apt to say what he was thinking and to say how he was feeling. And I just didn't know how to really communicate all of that well. So I would say for dating, communication, but as in just talk about stuff. Talk about how you're feeling, talk about how your day is, talk about how their day was, all of that.
And talk about if you're something upsets you, talk about it, because if you bottle it up, it's just gonna grow and it's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you know it, you're gonna have a big problem, and then you're just gonna explode and everything's gonna come out and you're gonna be like, what? I didn't know about that. Well, it's because you didn't talk about it when the issue came up.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, don't bottle things in. That was something that I would do, and then I have just not that problem that I bottled up, but then I had all these other things, and so then I would just have a day where everything would just kind of come out, not as an explosion, where I would just kind of start freaking out, but just more as in I was super grumpy, I wasn't treating Aaron very well, and that kind of was okay, well now I'm not being a very nice person to the person who's always being nice to me, and it's just because I wasn't communicating what I was feeling, out correctly. And so I think, that's not right. You want to make sure you're treating the person who always treats you well the same way.
Yeah, and you owe it to the other person to communicate with them, even if it is something that they're doing, something maybe annoying that they're doing, or you owe it to them. It's not, and maybe it'll start something, but in the end you'll be a lot happier.
Right. So. And then also with communication, it doesn't mean yelling at each other. I know especially if there is something that may be causing some tension or strife, maybe you have a tendency to either ignore the person or maybe to lash out. And in those instances, either if you're the person who ignores, you really that's who I am, you really need to not do that and actually just start talking, because the more you ignore the problem, the more it's going to cause issues later, and the issue is still there, so you need to resolve it with the person. But then if you're the person who lashes out, you're going to start saying stuff that you're going to regret later, and you're going to hurt that person, and you may end up pushing them away, which might not be your intention. But if you feel like you're going to start lashing out and say things that you're going to regret, the best thing to do is just calmly, as best you can, say in some kind of way, just I need to walk away, I need to have some space or something, just so you can calm down and really think about really what you need to say and how to say it effectively.
Yeah, and doing that before you actually go and talk to the person actually helps a lot. If you maybe while you're taking a shower, I know I think about a lot of things while I'm taking a shower. Just take a shower and maybe think about what you're going to say in a calm manner, even rehearse it, say it out loud, and then just take from there. So communicate. Number 2 is to learn how to compromise. I feel like this is something that a lot of couples struggle with, because you're two different people, and a lot of times they say opposites attract. Most of the time you're going to have different views on different things, and different schedules, different families, kind of thing. So one thing that I learned is that you have to cater to the other one's needs.
So cater as in for instance, schedules can be a big thing in a relationship, especially, you know, dating. Let's just say maybe you're at college and you have your different class schedules. Maybe you're part of like a sports team. I don't know. Maybe you have a work schedule.
Yeah.
But just trying to find like the balance of compromising. So as in like what she said by catering, as in like let's say your boyfriend has something going on, but you want to be doing something, but you kind of just find that, you know, what is the priority? So maybe what you want to do isn't as important. So catering to like what he's doing. Maybe he's got a sports game that maybe you really don't want to go to. You want to hang out with your girlfriends, but you hang out with your girlfriends all the time.
Yeah.
So doing something special for him and going to that game is a little bit more important. So
not necessarily getting down on your hands and knees and doing everything that he wants, but just kind of I don't know, mixing your plans. So kind of like just meshing your plans together in a way, and maybe you could flip flop. Say, you know, if you're long distance and you go and visit each other, so maybe he comes and visits you, then you go and visit him, and just kind of flip flop back and forth, and just compromising. So not giving back what you receive in a way, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, for Aaron and I, we used to live on opposite sides of the state. So it was just, and we were going to school in Florida. So it was just a matter of, like what she said, just kind of finding that compromise of who are you going to go visit, for how long, and then seeing if, you know, it's possible for them to do the same next time. But I mean, it works out either way.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, things just don't, and you kind of have to just roll with the punches. And don't get too upset, because I mean, life is life, and not everything is going to work out. But I think just giving grace in areas where you would want grace.
Yeah.
And I mean, it takes time. It takes a lot of communication to compromise, but in the end, I think it'll all work out just fine.
And compromising is just part of every relationship. You're always going to have to, you're going to come to a problem where you're going to have to give up what you want, or they give up what they want. So just, and maybe it's a whole new plan. So maybe their plan's not going to work out for you. You know, maybe your plan's not going to work out for them. So you have to communicate, which goes back to number one, and just find a plan that works for both of you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So try to keep the other person's feelings in mind. Like she said, give grace where you would want to give grace, where you would want to have grace given, and just, you know,
All right, and our point number 3 is healthy competition. Within a dating relationship, you'll know pretty quick that both of you will have some sort of competition streak, whether it's with sports, whether it's with, I don't know, schoolwork. It doesn't matter. You'll have some kind of competition. But keep in mind, healthy competition, so don't get in this rut of like always having to beat the other person. And just have fun while you're dating. Like, nothing has to be like butting heads all the time, and no one has to like do something better than the other person.
So yeah, no, just definitely just learn how to work together in a sense that, yeah, you might have two, you know, different lives, two different things going on, but don't get where like, oh yeah, I have to be better than them or something like that. And I don't think that's an issue in everybody's relationship, but it can happen. So just remember that they're on your team, you know what I mean? You don't have to beat them in things, or you know, they're on your side, kind of thing. Right.
So one thing, not that we struggled really with it, I guess, but just in general, if you feel like he never plans our dates, I feel like I'm always the one like planning things out. It doesn't really matter. Like, where you can kind of go back to the compromise thing and just kind of find a middle ground with maybe both of y'all can take turns planning a date, and then communicate that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to focus on putting 100% into the relationship, and I think it will kind of bounce back as they will put 100%, and sometimes you can't put 100% in. What if you're going through something that causes, so one of y'all may struggle with maybe anxiety or depression, or maybe there's something going on in your family where you're having to put a little bit more attention to, and you just can't give 100% into your relationship. Well, the other person, if you're probably watching, just know that, you know, that's gonna happen sometimes. Sometimes your partner's gonna give 50%, or maybe even just like 10%. Like, they're not putting in any kind of effort. And sometimes maybe it is their fault, but sometimes there could be something going on where they just can't. And you need to just be that support for them. You need to keep putting that 100% in, and just being that person that's kind of their constant that they can depend on.
And you can even go above and beyond. So you could give 120%.
Right.
And maybe in a stage of life where they can't give all they want. And again, that comes in with like the communication. Just talk to them and be like, hey, you know, this is how I'm feeling. And tell them how you're feeling. It's okay to do that. Just tell them, and then once you establish, you know, what the problem is, maybe like she said, maybe there's a family thing or a situation going on, or maybe they're having issues, or maybe it's just they didn't notice, you know what I mean? So just talk about those things and just figure out like, hey, you know, what's going on. And it's okay to talk about things, like we said. And so and maybe if it is like a family thing, maybe you can go above and beyond and help them, and like you said, be the support that they need.
Right.
So
yeah, and again, like, we just don't know all the different situations. Like, we're going based off like what we experienced with certain things. Like, I know for me, I went through a period of just really hard anxiety, and well, I kind of did it to myself in a way, but that's a whole nother story. But basically, I just had no, I didn't even know. I was just in this state of like, I felt like completely out of my body. Like, it was just an out-of-body experience. I was so anxious and kind of in a way depressed, and I just didn't know what I was doing. But Aaron the whole time was just like this, kind of like a resting place, just kind of like this place where I could just go and just unwind and vent and cry. And I just was not giving 100% in our relationship. Like, I almost physically and mentally couldn't, in a way. I just was so not present.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, I would just say, you know, whether it's you or your partner, just giving that extra percentage of, maybe it's 120 or just the full 100 helps.
Same. And like I went through kind of a similar thing in my last like semester of college. I just went into this depression, and I kind of did it to myself too, but you know, and like you said, Wilson's just not, like you said, Wilson's just not, like you said, like Aaron, anyway. So Wilson was just, you know, there to talk to and things like that. And sometimes you can't do anything but listen. You can do nothing but listen to them, but that sometimes is the best cure for a lot of anxiety. And I'm not saying completely, but obviously there's different aspects.
Right.
But
it helps.
It helps a lot just to have somebody just to listen to and not judge you in a way, if that makes sense. So yeah, you always want to be a safe place for your person. So that healthy competition, it's important, and you want to make sure your competitive streak doesn't get in the way of what's actually important, and that's your person. I mean, your person, it should be everything to you, and you want to make sure, obviously, your feelings matter too. Like, I'm not saying that everything. Okay. So, like I said, your feelings matter too, so we don't ever want to like just push those off to the side. But in the realm of just thinking of healthy competition, you do want to keep your partner in mind too. You don't want to just cause unnecessary strife or tension there. And another thing is realizing, like, I love like doing social media and doing like you know, media work, working with people, things, and that's my job, half my job, but then on the other hand, you know, I love doing it. It's something that I look forward to every day. And Will, on the other hand, loves hunting and getting up at 4 a.m. and going and shooting a deer kind of thing. So, but it's important that when it comes down to it, yeah, you have your separate things that you love to do, but also you have a common ground. So we both love traveling and just planning our trips and things like that. So it's always nice to be able to sit down and just talk about, hey, you know, we want to go to Washington next, or, you know, just having that kind of, you know, like common ground, that area where you can come down and just talk about something and do something that you love together.
Right. And Aaron and I are similar in the way where he's like Wilson, where he likes to go hunting and all of that, and the only like way I like him hunting is just the food in the refrigerator. But other than that, hunting is not my thing. But something that we have in common, well, we have a few things. We're very similar, actually. We don't have a lot of like things that we're super different in, but just a few things that we like. We have a fixer-up house, so we've been kind of into the whole interior design, like fixer-upper type stuff. So learning new things when it comes to fixing up a house and all that kind of stuff. We love, you know, nature, so we love going on different hikes, things like that, watching movies. So you always have a common ground where it doesn't always have to be competitive. But I think a healthy competition in a relationship is good.
And you can always talk about, hey, you know, I shot this here. Hey, I filmed this today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it
you
gives,
always have something to talk about.
Yeah, it gives variety.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alright, y'all. Well, thank you for watching this video on 3 points of dating. We talked about communication, compromise, and healthy competition. But let us know down in the comments below if you want us to talk about like do's and don'ts of dating. We'd love to know. And
especially like early dating and stuff. I love talking about that stuff. So not that we're pros, but just stuff that we've learned and things that were like my 3 years of dating and her
4.5.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just let us know. And if you have any just like questions or comments or just things you want to say or suggestions, just leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that bell when you subscribe so you can get a notification anytime we post a new video. And like if you like this video.
Yes, please. And subscribe. Have a great Thursday.
Yeah.
Bye. You got like a little hair or something like that?
No, I got hairs all. I got my sweater shit. So, anyway, okay. Oh wait, my paper.
Welcome back.
One. My feet are cold.
I have socks on, so they're fine. And my Crocs.
My butt. Okay.
And have that. Have that.